Very few people. Very few people. My wife even calls me Novo.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, when I get called on the phone, that pops up. It was RoboCop back in the early '90s. It evolved, It's evolved what's going on. But we're gonna welcome all these aliens, apes, and zombies here in 1 second. But first, gonna jam some tunes for Electro Labs. Woo! All right, welcome all my aliens, apes, and zombies. As you can see, that's some Dream Loops playing for you. They actually just had a drop this week, or they had some VXs popping in all over the place inside of their sandbox, which is going to be open for business somewhat soon, I guess. Sandbox, what's going on with that? But you can check out all those cool stuff because I had them on last week. This time, I think it was a week ago, I was on the show. And we got some new awesome friends on the show this week. We're going to bring in Walt right now. Walt is the owner, creator of Cannonball Club. And you know what? Also, a little to be known as not only as a college athlete, but also an NFL receiver as well. I give a big shout out to that because I did a little competing in college myself. So I know how work and it pays off. But Walt, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about Cannonball Club, and the efforts that you're pushing forth with using these NFTs in this space.
No, most definitely appreciate the time, Novo, and just having me on the platform. So just a little bit about myself. Yeah, played in the NFL for 4 years, from 2014 to 2018. Got drafted by the Cardinals, played 2 years with the Jets, 2 years with the Bills, and end up retiring with the Bills. But yeah, I end up stepping over into the Web 2 space because a group of investors, including Gary V, invested into my tech startup, my political tech startup, Politiscope, which just breaks down information in the layman's terms. Shortly after that, once we launched and, we started to get a lot of traction, start generating a lot of revenue, end up making Forbes 30 under 30 in 2020. And then right at the pinnacle of just everything we were going to, the direction we were going with Politiscope, the pandemic hit, of course. And, it gave us time to step back and really rebrand the company and create some new tech for it. But along that time, what was it? It was over the summer. Yeah, like last summer, Gary and AJ. Well, AJ got us on a Zoom call. I'm also the first athlete of Vayner Sports as well. So just the funny story about that. When I got to the Jets, Gary used to be a Walter Powell fan. Hopefully, he still is a Walter Powell fan. Matter of fact, he is. He used to wear my jersey a lot at the games and used to tweet me, but I didn't know who he was until my agents was like, "That's Gary V." And I'm coming from St. Louis. You know what I'm saying? I'm just a small town kid coming from St. Louis, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's what's up. And Gary was always talking about how he wanted to start his own sports agency, and yeah, just long story short, my agents ended up reaching out to him, asking, did he want to buy Vayner, their agency? And he was like, yeah. So they ended up merging, and now it's Vayner Sports. So yeah, just AJ, they've been my guys for a very long time. And shoot, even when when I used to stay in Jersey, right outside New York, I used to have a lot of my meetings up in Vayner Media, and all because they got my jersey in one of the offices. So it was a good little flex, low key. But yeah, back to the story. Just last summer, AJ introduced all the Vayner Sports athletes to something called V Friends. And at that time, I was foolishly in the whole GameStop stock market situation. And, when AJ brought it up about what Gary was building, I was just like, oh, this is NFTs. Interesting. I'm good. Not yet. And I am still kicking myself in the head about that because it's V Friends, So
Well, I'm
ever since,
gonna put you on pause
oh,
right
yeah.
there. I know this story, but someone who's going to be coming up just shortly after you from Cool Crocs, Jay Peezy. he is a Vler, and that was one of the first NFTs you got, right? Like he kind of, yeah, you're laughing now. While he's laughing, he's grinning ear to ear. JPZ, how about you just fill us in on that story right now, since we got you know? I mean, tell us your V story.
Yeah, so I mean that's so funny that you bring it up, and I love that we're both on this show right now to be able to have like both sides of this perspective, because I've been following Gary for a while now, and it was like 2017 is when I first started really following him, and I actually dropped, I'm an artist, so I dropped my first piece of art as an NFT in February 2021, which was the same month. I think it was a week after I dropped my NFT that 137 came out with an article. His company 137 PM came out with an article. WTF is an NFT, and so I took that as like a big sign that like, okay, like I'm definitely on the right track with this NFT thing, whatever it is. Back then I didn't really know. I put that NFT on a small blockchain, on a small marketplace, very obscure, as Ghost Market on Phantasma Chain. And so, but as when it came time to mint, there was no question in my mind. I actually took all of my crypto, which was, that I invested in Bitcoin in 2016, and thought I lost it all when it crashed, and then obviously it went way back up, and then I took all of that and put it into VFriends, which turned out to be a smart move. So it's cool to like, yeah, right, like you were there, like I'm questioning, like, because you were here, you were talking to him. I don't know how that talk didn't get infectious in your ear, because it definitely did in mine. But I guess I did have the experience coming from an artist who had already minted, so it's like I already kind of had some experience with it.
Yeah.
I'll interject right now because I did not know any of this story. I try to be transparent with anyone listening at home. Some may or may not know, if you see my opening line here in my bio, welcome all my aliens, apes, and zombies at Vayner NFT. I do work for Vayner NFT. Tonight's episode and anything Crypto Nova related has nothing to do with Vayner NFT. I'm just here to have some fun. And man, the circles are small, like really small here. So, all right, Walt, we understand that you did miss out on the VFriends minting. I don't own a VFriends myself, so I mean that's fine. I mean I skipped out on the alpha in the space, and that was prior to me even knowing anything about Vayner NFT. Just VFriends, it just wasn't for me at the time. I was focused on my own things. But let's focus in like what you're working on here with Cannonball Club, because I mean I see how this is linking into Gary and AJ now. I understand the backstory, but I want you to present it and how Cannonball Club is coming from someone who is in the Forbes 30 under 30, someone who has been successful collegiately in the pros, was able to retire, hopefully healthy, with the team, and then also what was as a founder of Politiscope right here, which is just awesome. I mean, cool stuff. So what branched you into the NFTs outside of maybe having mentors, mentees, agents, friends around you talking about NFTs?
Yeah, so I mean, after just Gary and AJ started bringing up NFTs, I slowly started seeing just NFTs pop up everywhere. And I guess that's just the algorithm. I don't know. I guess, my phone listening in on conversations, but I just started seeing more and more about it. So, I started to dip my toe in it, trying to understand, what is an NFT, and just like, how does it work? You know what I'm saying? Is it just art? You know what I'm saying? Or is it more than that? So over the last like 9 months, I've been really just being a fly on the wall, just really just in the back, just learning. Because also for me, I'm an artist as well. Before the pandemic, I was gonna have a whole art gallery in New York, but then the pandemic hit, because I do a lot of oil and acrylic painting, and I was just pissed about that, because it was a way for me to express myself. I've always thought of drawing, of painting as therapy for me, but just to once I learned just the technical side of just NFTs and how it was directly aligned with Web 2, it's like really taking the knowledge I learned from building a startup in Web 2 and transferring over into Web 3, and also being able to bring the art that I love to create and bring it over into Web 3 as well. So creating this just full, just operating system. So just what the Cannonball Club is, it's a collection of 10,000 2D animated cannonballs flying through the sky. And the reason I chose for them to be animated flying through the sky, because I love Dragon Ball Z, I love Baki, I love anime. And this nostalgic feeling of just watching them, especially in Dragon Ball Z, how they just flew through the sky, it just really always made me feel, some type of way, like just that free feeling. And I wanted to recreate that in a way that was, definitely different, but simplistic and fun at the same time. But with of course a splash of my creativity. But with these cannonballs, it's not just a PFP, but also a P to E game. And with the cannon, and before I even go into that, the reason, or matter of fact, I go into it and then I go back around to the reason creating the Cannonball Club and the cause behind it. But with the P to E game of the Cannonball Club, basically you're racing through the clouds. All holders will be able to race against other holders, and everybody who stakes their cannonball will yield cannon tokens. And with those cannon tokens, you can wager those tokens to race against other holders. So if you want to race for 10 tokens, five holders can all race at the same time for 10 tokens each, and winner takes all. And along with that, you can purchase power-ups, you can purchase defenses or specialties to slow down all your other opponents. And at the end of the day, is winner takes all. So that's like the fun way I wanted to incorporate just cannons and just really just flying through the clouds. And I got inspiration from that game to create the game from a Fun Run. If you're familiar, are you familiar with Fun Run?
Here's a backstory of myself. I gave up on Clash of Clans. I never spent $1 on any elixir or any wall upgrades or anything. I just played organically. I gave up on Clash of Clans 8 years ago and focused my attention on cryptocurrency because of the fact of how much time I was wasting on something senseless. And what you're doing right now is you're taking your Web 2.0 past, where you may have played those games, which you've talked about, but now it's paid to play those games. So you're going to actually earn. You're going to be earning instead of paying. And, the tokenomics behind it that you're introducing, where it is matching up with other members within the community, I know it has an awesome cause behind it. I know that these cannonball extra runnings aren't going to be going right into your pocket. They'll be going to a good cause here as well.
Of course. And just with that being said, the cause, I really, with everything I do, I'm all about creating an impact, and I do stuff with purpose. Like, I don't do it for self times. Everything I want to do with the impact and being able to help others. That's why I created Politiscope, by providing simplicity and transparency. And even with the Cannonball Club, we partnered up with Crohn's and Colitis Foundation, because my younger sister, she's had Crohn's disease since I was like 11, 12, and she's 4 years younger. So yeah, basically I grew up with it, and just watching her, fight, through having Crohn's, the ups and the downs. And even when she lived with me up in Jersey, when I was, when I was playing in the league or whatnot, she used to get sick, and AJ, used to recommend doctors and specialists, because AJ, Gary's younger brother, has Crohn's disease as well. So it just really hit home to be able to give back in a way to really create impact, that affects my advisor, AJ, but also, affects my sister, Alexis. And, hopefully one day that, there can be a cure for this. But this is a way I wanted to be able to give back, because I felt, as a kid, I felt, growing up, I just felt helpless, not being able to help, just because it was nothing I could do besides, make my sister laugh, play video games with her and stuff, and kind of just, kick it with her. But now it's a way I can use my platform to really, provide awareness for Crohn's and colitis, and also be able to create an impact just with the P2E side, and even a level on the game. A percentage of the proceeds will still go into Crohn's and colitis, after we mint out and everything. So it's just really, just like I said, for me, it's all about creating an impact. And with this, it's making people feel good, be able to compete, be able to earn tokens and have fun. Because I used to play this game in college with my teammates, but we used to actually put real money on the table, and we all used to be playing right there against each other.
You never gambled in college. I never heard that. I don't know what you're talking about.
I said when I say money, it was these pieces of candy called money. And
yes, the chocolate coin. But I know, and I know because I've sat on plenty of bus rides with my teammates being a member of a track team, and it was the same thing. You are sitting in the back of the bus playing cards. You are in the back of the bus. I mean, I guess cell phones weren't as prevalent, aging myself a little bit, as much it is nowadays. But you're able to use past experiences and bring it to the things that you remember about those interactions you've had with your teammates, and how you could bring that gamified version back to them again for a good cause. I have had the honor of going out to breakfast with AJ and knowing about his dietary restrictions. My wife has dietary restrictions of her own due to allergies. Same with my daughter as well. So like I love that you're using the platform for the betterment of others, direct cause towards, like you said, something that you lived with. Pretty much you lived with it as well. And you're continuing to care not only for her, but other people that, have those, if you want to call it a restriction, whatever it may be, get them, the help that they need, get them the treatment that they're looking for, or just be around other like-minded individuals that might be dealing with the same, setbacks, I guess, if you want to call it that. So how about for the people just tuning in, a little 30-second Cannonball Club? When is it dropping? What should we be looking for? Where should we be going for this information? I see the link tree. It's awesome up here. We got your Instagram and then your other partnerships as well.
Yeah, so right now we've been on stealth mode until about a week ago. So we're really just trying to reveal stuff piece by piece. When mint, is TBD, but also we're having our charity auction for our 1-of-1 piece April 29th. So we're going to reveal that 1-of-1 piece. Proceeds are going to Crohn's and Colitis, to the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. So if anybody's in LA right now, there's the email right there. You can get if you come, shoot, just you heard it out of my mouth, you get a whitelist. I'm feeling it right now. So shoot, if you shoot me an email right now saying where you seen this at, you'll get yourself a whitelist and you'll come kick it with us at the charity auction. There's gonna be a lot of dope people. And the floor is already set at 10K. So super excited about how much we're going to be able to raise for Crohn's and Colitis, and a great event panel just about Web3 and philanthropy, and just great people in the room. So super excited, because at the end of the day, Cannonball Club is about community, culture, and being able to create an impact, and no pun intended, because it's a cannonball, and once it's going, it's going to create an impact, as soon as it touches down wherever it's going to hit. So yeah, it's Cannonball Club.
I love it. Use the pun. That's great. I say use it, embrace it. I know I can't make it to LA that day. I do have a track meet that particular day. But after the show, let's talk in the green room, because I might have some locations that you can possibly use, and or people that could probably show up for it. So for sure. Jay Peezy, anything to ask Walt, in general, or this is awesome. I love what I'm seeing here. Just using that platform, using your past knowledge, and using the community members around you. That you're in your element for a reason here, because you have been working hard. You have the network of the right people around you, and you're using that for an awesome cause. I mean, this is cool stuff.
I most definitely appreciate that.
JPZ and the Cool Crocs. All right, JPZ, we have the link in here. We got a little background, being lucky one for being a V Friends holder here. What are you, an empathetic elephant you are? Is that correct?
That is correct. I got the empathy elephant. I'm very happy about it.
I can tell by the smile on your face, and I can tell about how cool these Crocs are. Tell us a little bit about these cool Crocs that are minting right now on coolcroc.io.
100% coolcrocs.io. We are minting right now. Let that animation play a little bit. You'll see a little bit of the ecosystem, the world that is the swamp where these cool Crocs live. So that'll loop about right now. You'll see the swamp, and we dive into the swamp. We've got the DJ Croc playing some tunes, because I come from a hip hop background, a big musical background. We see the swamp, people chilling, people partying, Party Croc he had a little bit too much, slid right off the, the floaty there. We got Fisher Crocs, and then we got a lot of Croc jocks, right? Playing sports, playing basketball, football, soccer. And then, of course, the Aristocrocs here in their high tower looking over and keeping them down in their place. But guess what? These skate Crocs over here and the hip hop Crocs, well, they don't like that. They're not going to let the hierarchy stand like that. So that's where we enter the story. And we'll follow one Croc as he questions the status quo, and then we'll follow that story in an animated series that is DAO driven. So the DAO will be voting on which character's story we follow. So we're going to start following the main character, Charlie Croc, Cool Croc, the Cool Croc, and then that'll introduce us to other characters, and the community will decide which stories we want to dive into, because I've been creating this universe for going on 12 years now. I first drew Cool Croc in 2009. So I drew this character as part of a comic book series that was a zine style comic that I would, pen and ink, and then, copy it, photocopy it, staple it together, hand out to people as I traveled around the country back in my early 20s. And that's where I kind of came up with all these ideas, the fact that I love telling jokes. And a lot of these stories came from that. But then when I, got done with that trip, I was traveling for about a year, and I kind of, felt like I had to get my career started, because, nothing really went with as far as the comic book. It was kind of more for fun. And so I started getting into events, and I started building a career in festival production. And all the while, though, I was building this IP, this IP about the Crocs, about other characters and their backstories, and developing these backstories to see where people to dive into it and really explore. So I was pushing all that out, but that was like privately. And then in the 10th year anniversary of all these characters, I actually got the opportunity to throw my first solo art gallery show in San Francisco, where it was the first time publicly I showcased all of this IP in the form of different art pieces at that gallery showing. And once I threw that event, it kind of all came together that I really want this IP to be an animated cartoon, and this cartoon to be a festival. And so I moved down to LA with that goal in mind right before COVID. And so getting into the animation industry was my plan. I moved down there with, stayed at a friend's house. He was supposed to get me in the animation industry. Of course, everything shut down for COVID. It was a no-go. Nothing moved. And then during that time, which was a tough time for everyone, I know a lot of people's plans changed in the 2020 COVID era. I, sought therapy and actually was diagnosed with ADHD. And so since then, the last couple of years, well in my 30s, it put a lot of things in perspective. It put in perspective why, as an artist, I was spread thin all over different mediums, going from clothing designer and stand-up comedy to writing scripts. And I mentioned music and rapping and DJing. And, being in LA, I got to experience a little bit of how the industry wants to box you in. Like, well, which one are you? Are you a DJ, or are you an actor? Are you a stand-up comedian, or are you a writer? You have to choose one. You can't just say you're all of them. And, I learned through, learning about neurodivergent ADHD. I mean, that was just an impossibility for me and my brain. And that was in 2020. And then, of course, I mentioned earlier, 2021 was when I first minted my NFT, and my first artwork as an NFT, got into Gary's project, learned about like what a project could be. And all of a sudden it made perfect sense that what I wanted to do, what I had written down as my life goal, which was to turn this IP into a cartoon and turn that cartoon into a festival, and then help and impact education and help build community around neurodivergence and ADHD, that makes a perfect roadmap for an NFT project. It makes sense in Web3. So, once I really learned that, I just was studying. Deadheads came out, big shout out to Deadheads. And they were a project that when I saw their animated series, I was like, oh, perfect. My plan is sound. Everything that I wanted to do and make sense in the Web3 space. And here's an example that I can point to as like, projects that are doing that, right? With Gary Vee and VeeFriends giving back so much value, and with this animated series that has a plot in the metaverse. And so that's what we're doing with our project. There's an animated series in production that I mentioned earlier. We got a plot in the sandbox that's being built out currently. There's a card game that's going to be dropped later this year. We already did a merch drop. We're doing a plushie drop next. And so, learning from Gary Vee and the value that I want to give back to everyone that is, has supported this journey, and all the Croc fam that we have, and making sure they're stoked out and just like super happy. And it's a safe space. It's a safe space for people to talk about their neurodivergence. It's a safe community to get support around that. It's because it's difficult. It opens up your vulnerability when you talk about these things. And, generally people that have ADHD, let's go over some facts. 5% of the population has been diagnosed with ADHD. That's probably very much under with all the undiagnosis. Women particularly are not diagnosed as often just because the ADHD doesn't manifest the same as it does with boys, right? That hyperactive element that we all kind of know, boys have, like when they're children, is easier to spot and diagnose. And so there's definitely an underdiagnosed population. And 1 in 7 people have, neurodivergence. And so, we all know someone who has it, and we all, but there's not enough resources for that. Right now in schools, the one size fits all medication just doesn't work for every brain. Neurodivergence is different for every single person that has it. ADHD is different in every different brain. And so this one size fits all approach doesn't work. And
about that. Someone calling me on Discord, which I just hung up on.
So yeah, through building this community around that, I've learned so many stories about how people love their medication and they didn't feel like themselves until they had it, and the exact opposite, that they were given it at a young age and they didn't feel like themselves until they stopped taking medication. And so, through these stories, we can learn that we're not crazy, that we're not so different, that we empathize with each other. And it's been a really beautiful thing building that. And so that's something that I'm really passionate about.
One thing I want to bring really that you looked into, Jay Peezy, is like, you have been in this game for 10, 12 years, and it took you to talk to yourself through other people trying to tell you what to do, that you are in your element of just creating, just creating, period. It doesn't need to be focused on anything. And right now, the NFTs are perfect for that, because you can layer anything into these contracts, from clothing, which you're accustomed to music, which you're attuned to obviously, just cool characters that you've created for 10 years deep. It goes past the Crocs, where I believe there's beavers involved that are trying to help save the ecosystem so the chemical waste doesn't run down into the swamp. And but you're releasing that into a DAO component so others can vote on it. So it's just not you being the person on the top of the dam telling which way the water's going to flow. Anyone can tell where the water's going to flow, and it is a great outlet for it. And it might take you until your adult years to realize things that you had no clue about in your high school years. Me, I had ants in my pants, and I could not sit still in a classroom at all. I had to sit in the front row. I had to sit away from a window. So I looked out the window and I saw a squirrel. I'd be daydreaming about that squirrel rather than worrying about what's on that screen. But I found what works for me. I stand when I talk. I'm be able to communicate like I talk. Very like-minded individuals we see in this space. And I was talking with Walt in the green room about that as well. It's just like athletes the same way. It's almost like the ADD of how you train your body. You're almost constantly always doing something as an athlete. It doesn't even need to be, a traditional, like, super physical athlete either. It could just be whatever. If you're in maybe a less athletic type of sport, you're still training your brain to do things, very similar to artists training their hands and their minds to create art. So, props to you of, you know, staying with it, you know, and going through with, you know, the process of the cool Crocs, because you're able to layer the story. And I can just tell how passionate you are and just how you started with that story and sharing that story to others as well, which I love the storytelling of just how the Crocs came to be just from the first, you know, 5 minutes that you've been talking about them. Talk about a little bit about these the different genres of Crocs. I mean, are these all minted? Are these different types of minting processes for each one, or is it you get one?
Yeah, so we got, you know, it's a collection of 5,555 Crocs that are minting, and it is the generative PFP process where is all layers randomly generated. And so I haven't even seen. I mean, we've done test generations, but I don't know what this generation is gonna result in. And so I'm really excited as all of them mint to see what different combinations they get. But yes, in the story, those particular things that you mentioned not only kind of represent elements of the story and types of characters, but also like the interests. So, you know, skate Crocs or skater gators are, and mind you, crocodiles or I should say alligators are part of the Crocodilia family, so they're still Crocs. Just want to point that out.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
So even skater gators are Crocs. But yeah, so the skater gators is, you know, I've been skateboarding all my life, and we're gonna do, you know, if you have the skateboard trait, then I don't want to drop too much alpha, but like that's how we're going to do it in the future, is that there will be special perks that correlate to the skateboard trait and skater gators, right? Hip hop Crocs, we've got a spray paint can trait, and there will be things associated with that character if you mint that trait. Croc jocks, like I mentioned before, we've got a lot of sports. We're building community around them, watching sports. And so when, you know, March Madness comes together, the Super Bowl, you know, we can have virtual and real life parties. And there could be something special for those people that have the trait that correlates with that. And then the Party Crocs and Aristocrocs is kind of more the Aristocrocs being, there will be traits that go along with that. And that will be something, but they are the nemesis of, you know, the antagonist in the series. And, you know, and so we get to play, like you said, the creativity that you get to infuse into these projects is boundless. And as the DAO pushes forward, will dictate a lot of what those things mean. Right now, you know, I told you what I told you, but it's very loosely structured. I know those things are going to be how it plays out, but the specifics around that, right, what you actually will get, will largely be determined by the course of action that the DAO takes and that our community takes. So it's really fun to see what things the community gravitates towards more, and then structuring the project based on that.
And that's the success, because you're getting more of your fans engaged in what they want. You know, maybe they want some more aristocrats and have some villains in the space. I mean, think about it. Think about if Bored Ape started having like a couple people coming out just as like simple villains, like, hey, just pick on me. Nothing bad or horrible, but that alien, ape, or zombie might make a name for themselves by being, you know, the villain in a storyline. And you know, we're seeing more and more storylines being developed in not only and all NFT projects, but just the creative minds that are behind it. You know, you being one of them right here, because I just love it. And, you know, I don't get around to see all these projects all the time. That's why I love enjoying having new projects on, so I get to learn about them firsthand and see what's going on with them firsthand. Walt, any questions on the cool Crocs here? You know, sitting here as a fan, just like myself, you know, looking at the cool art, the great story behind it.
Bro, I love it. No, the whole storyline behind it. And it's funny because my not even funny, it's cool because my best friend has ADHD. He's my co-founder of Politiscope. Like Jay, like even as kids, like he's always had this superpower to just hyper focus and just get stuff done. And as a kid, like it used to be funny because he used to just get up and walk out of class. Because me and him went to two different high schools, but me and him used to talk like every day. Like, but he'd be like, bro, I couldn't do it today. I just got up and left class and started walking around. And, just because he really couldn't focus for real. But as we got older, he started to really read tons of books, become a historian. And like now, like once we created Politiscope, like dude was just like a human computer with just the work he turned out compared to, the average person doing it takes him a whole day. For Jay, it take him half the day because he just locked in. And that's I always just admired that about him and just how different he was. It's like opposites attract, but it's like Jay is me and I am Jay. I'm not from the fanboy about him, but just having ADHD to me is like a superpower because it's unique. And just the whole Crocs just layout. Like soon as you start playing a visual, I was like, yo, this a whole show I could watch. I'm like, put this on Adult Swim, yo. Like, so I really rock with this, yo, for real.
I think Michael Scott likes
really
JRS1 likes the Michael Scott background as well. Sorry to interrupt you. Go for it. JP,
I just want to say thank you. Yeah, thank you, Walt. I really appreciate that. And I think it's just important to note, that both of our projects are focused on, giving back to the things that we see in our lives and the people that we love in our lives, right? It's that empathy, that side of things, that humanity that NFTs are able to provide that platform for, and in a way like showcase our humanity more than Web 2. In my opinion, that's where I see the space. And when I heard about your project and how you guys are helping out and building, researching and money for Crohn's disease, like I definitely have friends that have that as well. And so hearing your story about your friend Jay and your business partner Jay, is good to me, to hear these stories of successful people that have different neurodivergence. And I think the more stories that we hear, the more empathy that we get for other people, and the more knowledge that we have moving forward in the world, and just to make the world a better place. So I'm just so glad to be in this space with all of you, and yeah, thanks for the kind words.
Make sure that you can mint it right now. Coolcrocs.io. That's Crocs with an S, CROCS. You can mint those. And then also coming up, where it is right here, I'll get this on the bigger picture here. April 29th in the LA area, swing by, check it out. Cannonball Club. You can get on that white list very easily. Get yourself one of those cannonballs flying by. Want to thank JRS1 for listening. DGen Data representing Chi-Town. Thank you, Sleepers. Thanks for listening, like always. Jay Peezy, anything else? Go for it. Yeah.
I do actually. I did have a question for Walt, but I just kind of launched into. I kind of missed that time, but so
go for it.
Where exactly? And because I can't read the flyer very well that's on the screen. Where? Because I live in LA, so I would love to go to that event.
Go ahead. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you I'm gonna tell you location offline, but yeah, it's April 29th. It's near a theater near you. No, I'm just playing, but it's near the water, so I'll let you know. But yeah, definitely wanted to keep it secret until people email. It's gonna be a nice intimate group, so I definitely think you'll be able to vibe with it. But yeah, of course,
cool.
Pull up, bring whoever.
Definitely, yeah, excited for it.
Cannonballclubinfo@gmail.com. Cannonballclubinfo@gmail.com. All right. That's about it. You guys, anything else for the good of the cause? Walt, JPZ, anything else?
No, just Novo, I definitely just appreciate this time, just the platform that you got, bro. One day I'm gonna find out who you are behind that. I'm going to find you. But no, I appreciate just the platform that you've set for just people in the Web3 space. And bro, I appreciate you. And it's just crazy, like I said, how it comes around full circle in this space. Like it's all about impact. It's all about being able to help each other, not this doggy dog world. Because we don't have to live in this place of only one person can win, only one person can be the top dog. No, we all can eat. You know what I'm saying? So just being able to help each other in this space is just this is the right way this is how we're supposed to live. So I appreciate just this platform, bro.
Well, I'll dox myself to you and you only if you can beat me in a foot race. How about that? We'll find a foot race.
Bro, you've been practicing. You've been at the track. Which kids practicing, bro? So you trying to bait me, bro? I could just
It's
give me.
all about risk to reward. I weigh my risk to reward with the best of them. So maybe we get some security behind it. We'll get AJ to race us. I don't know if he's fast or not, but we can leave him in the dust and get some money, maybe go into charity or something like that, because that's what it's about, helping others and having fun with others. And I enjoyed my time. I'm here for you as well. I have these airwaves open for anyone who wants to come on and one, they have to be positive, but come on and help others. And sometimes it's helping their own cause of just resurfacing stuff that they've been working hard on for years and years and years, or resurfacing new technology to help others in the space. So I'm here to help. That's what I'm trying to do. Just like I'm helping out Dream Loops right here. I minted these bad boys, I don't know, way back in day one when they first dropped, and they gave me music for my intro and outro music. So here's some more Dream Loops for the outro. Stay positive and love life. Peace.
All right. Thanks. So, Walt, you've never seen Crypto Novo in real life?
No, I haven't.